Hello, every pony. The time has finally arrived. I know at least one of you should be excited for this, and hopefully the rest will soon follow. It is time to begin our next big story project. I would like to thank Ronnie the Skunk for requesting this. Apparently he knows the author, and I have to say that it is a delightful story, and Ronnie, would you please thank your friend for writing this, because it's delightful and I really enjoyed it. So, today we will begin Angelswift by Nevel on FimFiction. And the picture, as far as I can tell, is from Hellbreaker 2012 at DeviantArt. So, I'm super excited to get this story started. It's a very delightful story. It's a bit longer, word count-wise, than Roommates of Vampire, and yet less chapters, so they're all longer. The average chapter in this story is in the high 2,000 word range, so the videos will be a little longer than they were on previous stories. But, anyway, let's at least get started tonight. This is the story that I'd been hesitating on for the sheer fact that it involves, as I said before, I think something like 10 or 15 canonized character voices, and then like 3 or 4 original ones. So, yay me. But I'm going to do it anyway, and I'm going to try my best to do it justice. So, here we go. Angelswift Prologue. We had to get away. I couldn't let her grow up in a home like that. The train rattled from side to side as it rushed along the tracks. Rain was pouring down the outside of the window. Nothing else could be seen at this time of the night. The heavy rain clouds blocked out the moonlight, and the dim lights inside the tram shined against the window, making it impossible to see anything. Only his reflection was there to stare back at him, his ivory-colored coat a mess, and the light blue mane all ruffled up. Lance Angelswift couldn't bear to look at the mess of a pony he had become. She deserves so much better. The little pink filly with a yellow straight mane lying next to her brother stirred slightly as the train hit a bump. She moved herself closer to him, trying to keep warm. She was still so young and small. Lance placed a foreleg around her and held her close. Their mother died shortly after the little filly was born. Before she died, she named her foal Cherry Blossom. Their father was a drunken gambler. He spent all the family's savings down at the Las Pegasus casinos. With all the family's money gone, Lance was forced by their father to drop out of school and take a job at the local mall. Las Pegasus was a rough place, and after years of working on the till and stacking shelves, Lance had heard of a new job opening which offered better bits. It involved working at a casino as security. The city needed as many security guards as possible due to the influx of new ponies coming into the area. Lance Angelswift wasn't exactly the strongest earth pony, but he was determined to work hard. His dream had always been to be a guard, but this wasn't what he had in mind. Canterlot, the Royal Guards, that was his goal. Ever since he first got his cutie mark of a shield while protecting a classmate at his school from bullies, he knew what he wanted to be. Over the years, Lance Angelswift had saved up a small amount of bits to put aside for himself and his sister. All the rest of his money went to their father as he pissed it away on alcohol and gambling. Cherry Blossom was forced to keep the house clean and tidy. Their father would scream at her otherwise. It killed Lance every night to come home to their father, passed out on the sofa, stinking and leaving a mess on the floor. If it was there in the morning, Cherry would get the blame for it. She was only a tiny filly. She should have started school earlier this year, but their father refused it. She's still young and hasn't gotten her cutie mark yet. Lance feared that his sister would end up with a ball and chain as a cutie mark. He had to work harder, but he was already working 2 jobs, the store and security. He was always tired and always hungry. Then in one night, everything changed. Lance came home, exhausted. Upon reaching the front door, he heard screaming. Lance opened the door as quickly and as quietly as he could. Lance heard his sister pleading with their father.
"How long have you had this?"
their father shouted. Lance hurried over to her bedroom where the shouting was coming from. He peeked in and saw his father, his sister, and a small bag between them. He had found a stockpile of bits that Lance had been saving. Lance kept it hidden in his sister's room, believing it would be safe there, since how often his father would take any possession from Lance's room. All Cherry had was a cot that was far too small for her. Their father had found the bits hidden there. He was shouting at her, saying she had been stealing from him. Lance saw him raise a hoof. He was going to hit her. Lance charged into the room, then jumped on his father. They both crashed into the small cot. Their father hit his head very hard and wasn't moving. Lance stood over him and panic filled his soul. It felt like forever had passed, and then Cherry Blossom nuzzled against her big brother's foreleg, her tears soaking into his white coat. He had to be strong. He had to make a choice. Lance gathered up all his bits, packed up only the belongings that were absolutely necessary, and then they fled the house together. He knew exactly where they needed to go. Their mom had a home in Ponyville. He didn't have enough bits for anything more than the train journey, but neither of them could stay here any longer. The rain began to stop outside and the clouds started to clear. The Pegasus ponies were up early. The sun had just begun to rise and light shined through a few breaks in the clouds. A small town could be seen below. "That's our new home," Lance thought. "That's Ponyville." And that's the end of the prologue. So, I'd say it pretty neatly sums up the backstory of what's going on. And I think some of you can understand now just why this story was so enticing when I first heard about it. Wasn't exactly a hard decision to decide to do this one after I read it. So there's that. I might get to chapter 1 tonight. Don't know yet. It's already getting kind of late. And I've already been staying up way too late the last couple of nights as it is. I might at least take a look at some of the other stories that have been mentioned to me. And I've got some reading to catch up on some of my stories anyway that have been updated today. So there's that. So we'll see if I upload anything else tonight. I might. I'll try. Because that's not a whole lot, and I hate to keep you guys waiting. So I'll go ahead and upload this, and then hopefully I'll have time for some more tonight. So in the meantime, thanks for listening, and see you next time.